It's Liz again. Welcome to my channel, The Long Road Home. Um, this is a continuation of my journey to enlightenment, to awakening. Not enlightenment, awakening. Enlightenment is a whole other thing, but to wake up, waking up to who I am, to the realization that I am not just a human being. I am a soul. I have a higher self, and my higher self here in this moment right now in this body is having a human experience. And this world that we live in, it is a prison planet. We are recycled souls, and I'm an ancient soul. I'm very old, and I know for a fact I'm a starseed. I'm also an empath, in case this is your first video. And I'm clear. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I have visions. Mostly people dying. My visions are usually dark. There was a point in time in which I just got so frustrated and angry, and I'm just like, you know what? If this is all my gift is going to be, you can keep it. I don't need to know when people die. I don't need to know the horror of the world, and you can just stop sending them to me. You know, and I just completely shut down. I was like, I have had enough. I'm tired of feeling everybody's feelings. I'm tired of not having any control. I mean, I was just, this was a short time after my husband died. Yeah, that was just, you know, and that's another thing. I can't even, I have a hard time, you know how like they have those long lines of cars go by, you know, from a funeral? Dear God, that is like a wave. And I feel so much sorrow and sadness, and it's like seeps inside of me. I can't do funerals. I have a hard time with funerals. The emotion at a funeral is often, unless it's a small funeral, I'm okay. I try to be more joyful, you know, remember the good things and the happy things about that person, just so I can survive it. Because it really messes me up. Yeah. And that scratching, if you can hear it, is my cat wanting it. And I told him no, because he's a pest. They're all pests. I don't want them in here. I'm just trying to get through this. Anyway, I left off where I left where I got to the point where I couldn't work. My body was broken. I was losing my eyesight. I was pretty low. We lost our house and went into foreclosure. All the stuff I had to leave behind, all the stuff that I lost, that was hard. It was like, because I was in the flood of 93, and I lost, and the flood of 93, that was another tower moment. I forgot to mention that before, but in the flood of 93, we were trying to sell the house that I had gotten. You know, there were back taxes, you know, it was just a mess. And my husband wouldn't work. He wouldn't hold down a job. And then the flood came. And during the flood of 93, I had stored a good amount of my stuff in my mom's basement, because I lived next door to her. I'd stored a bunch of it, and I was going to get it, you know, in a couple months, because I was like, well, it'll be safe here, and then in a couple months, once I get the house sorted that we just moved into, you know, that we were renting, I'll be okay. I'll get all my stuff out of there. But that didn't happen. The flood of 93 happened. You know, they were sandbagging, you know, down by our street. And it was in the middle of the night, just trying to keep the waters back, just trying to hold on, trying to keep the waters away. It was getting so high. When they stopped reinforcing one of the levees, because they were trying to save the downtown area. Now, screw us. We don't matter. I'm a freaking city manager. That was a disaster. But they let the levee go, and the levee came down there, flooded the house one day before closing on the house because we were going to sell the house. And we'd found a buyer. One day before closing, they let the levee go. And the levee comes in. The water comes in, floods the house, warps the boards in the house. And my mother's house was sitting a little bit higher, so the water only came into her basement. But that basement was where I had everything. Everything. I used to collect Barbie dolls, and those really pretty fancy dolls. And I also collected books. I had like 200 or 300 books. Loved books, all kinds of beautiful books, as well as all my writing, my poetry, my art, all my art supplies, my art desk. I had a really nice art desk that I, could sit at and create with. I even had a beautiful antique sewing machine that my dad had bought me that I love to use. It was all down there. And my husband, and I was so mad at him for this, because I had told him, okay, I want to get the stuff out of my mom's safe. He says, oh, do we really have to? Do we really have to move all that? Well, yeah. Well, you can go get it, and I was like, well, gee, thanks for the help. So, because, he just thought, it's just crap. Who wants your crap here? If it was mine, it was worthless. If it was his, it was priceless. That's kind of gaslighting I had to live with. But we didn't get it, and I lost it all. That was a tower moment. My whole identity, all the awards I had gotten in high school, my letterman's jacket, because I got a letter, I got a pin. You got a letter for your jacket when you do, in sports, and then I also had a captain's pin, because when you were a senior, you became captain. It didn't really hold a lot of weight to it, and I didn't really care. It didn't really bother me. I didn't give a crap. I really didn't like swimming. But still, I was proud of that jacket. I was proud of my letter. And I hadn't even had a chance to even really get the letter on the jacket. But it was expensive, But I was going to have that done. My ring. My graduation ring was down there too. My tassel, my awards, everything. Gone. Just gone. When I was cleaning out that basement, I wept. I wept the whole time. I just sobbed. That was everything. All of me, all of who I was, all of who I thought I was going in trash bags. It was ruined. Everything. Every single piece of art I ever made, every painting, except for one painting survived, but the rest of it, no. It was ruined. I had to throw it all away because it was sewage water. You couldn't keep any of it. All my books, my dolls, everything gone. It was so heart-rending, and I was so full of, if I was angry before, I was even more angry then. And my resentment was building toward my husband. Because if he had only taken the time to come with me and give me a hand. Because there was a lot of stuff, and I could move it all by myself. But I'd gotten to my mind that, I'll do this. Excuse me. Ooh, confirmation mark there. I'll do this. I'll do it myself. But I didn't get a chance to. Because it was just right after we moved. And I wanted my stuff. I wanted to put the decorations that I had down there. I wanted to put that back up there. I wanted to put all that together. I wanted to put out my work of my art, Who doesn't want to display their art? I was proud of it. I was very good. I was amazing, and I will say that with pride. I was amazing. I could do just about anything. I worked in watercolors, ink. Um, oh, acrylic paints. I was amazing at pastels. You name it, I could make art out of it. Okay, and it was good. It was very, very good. And I was so proud of that. And it was all gone. It was like, again, all these tower moments that I was having, they're not, they're, when I say they are tower moments, they are moments in which my soul left my body. I swear to God, my soul left my body, and devastation reigned. Just tore me to pieces. Piece by piece by piece, I was being shredded. Anyway, back to the present, back to 2019 when I lost my house. Okay. I lost even more then. I couldn't take it with me. We had gotten a storage unit, but it wasn't very big. I had furniture to put in there and everything. And even then, I had to get rid of most of my furniture. I couldn't take hardly anything with me. We got into this crappy camper. Oh, yeah, it works. It works. What a liar. All the money that I had left, we had bought this camper so that we had a place to live because he said it worked. It did not work. I drove it over and I asked my brother if I could just park it there and plug it in the backyard. Plug it in, we'd be okay. We wouldn't need anything else, just some water and some electricity, and we'd help pay for that too if we could. And he was not thrilled about it. Now, you better stay outside. You better, I don't want you here. You would think that, he had a horde of cockroaches moving in on him. But that's where we stayed mostly, was in that camper. And it was cold. No heat. I had to run, he didn't know I was running heaters in there. That I had the little heater in there trying to heat it, but it was still freezing cold. It was still like in the 40s and 50s in the dead of winter. And then, God, it was awful. Living with my brother was traumatic. I'm still very grateful, though. At least we had some place to plug in. We could take a shower, although he only wanted us to take 5-minute showers. And to help pay for it, he asked me to help clean the house. Holy shit. He has 6 kids. My brother has 6 kids. And they all live together. And then 2 adults. And it was a nightmare. Keeping up, and I was hurt. My back was killing me. I was still in so much pain. I was still having so many problems. And it was just, I was so depressed and upset. And it's like, this is it. This is it. Now I am homeless. I'm living in this camper where nothing works, even though the guy said everything works, because shortly afterwards, the electrical panel went. So then most of the stuff in there didn't work. The batteries, for some reason, wasn't charging. You know how you have to have these batteries when you live in like an RV. They help run the electricity unless you're plugged in. And then the shorts. I finally found a fuse to replace. I think it was a fuse. I can't remember. We did something, and it got some of the RV working again. Okay, it got some of it working again. But still, I'm living in this tiny RV with all our cats. At the time, I had like 7 cats because I had rescued a batch of kittens. And it was just an awful nightmare. I didn't want to give up my cats, my animals, their family. I love them dearly. And Sam was old. He was like 6-7 years old. Luna. And then we had the 5 kitties. We're down. We don't have that many cats anymore. 3 of them died. Luna, Sam, and Diana. That was heartbreaking. That was just recently. That about killed me. But here we are, unable to work, having to work in my brother's house. And I know, you try to work and pay your way. Doing everybody's laundry. I was doing laundry every single day. And they had no order. They had no, I don't know. They just did not seem to have any cohesion in their house. As far as, cleaning things, putting things away. It was just wherever. And it just drove me crazy because I'm so anal retentive. I'm very anal retentive. Messes bother me. Like our house now. We moved in here a couple years ago. And it's still, there were so many problems with this place. And they're fixed now. Most of them are anyway. But it cost a lot of money. So there are things that we still haven't gotten done. I still need to paint my room. I just got done painting the living room and taking care of the ceiling. I cleaned all the carpets. I finally got us, and I paid for a new washer and dryer and a new fridge because the old washer and dryer stopped working shortly after we moved in. Matter of fact, they didn't tell us that the washer and dryer that was here that we were supposed to get with the house wasn't actually there. His washer and dryer. It was his tenants. I was like, so yeah, we finally got a washer and dryer, a new refrigerator because that last one, the door wouldn't shut all the way. Just things wouldn't stay as cold as they should have been. It was just. But anyway, back to my brother. Finally, and this is when the pandemic hit. We're talking about just when the pandemic hit, right? Summer of 2019, I lost my house. 2020 comes, we get the pandemic, and that was when I had decided to do something different because I couldn't go back to office work. I couldn't see. I couldn't do anything with my degree. I couldn't use computers anymore. So I went into home health care. Oh my God. And the first job I get, it paid pretty decent, It wasn't 40 hours. It was only 25 to 30 hours, but it was a job. It helped pay for things. And this was in March of 2020. That's when everything hit the fan, right? And no sooner had we started working there than one of the people came back with been exposed to, the bug. I guess some people call it the beer bug. COVID. Why can't you say that? Why can't you say COVID? Okay. So then she gave it to everybody. Then everybody at the house had it. And I'm telling you, the weirdest thing on earth is not being able to taste or smell something. But I still had to work through it because of the fact that the lady, her and her daughter, I was taking care of her daughter, right? But the lady got it bad. She was an older lady. She was really, really old. She was in her 70s, 80s. And her daughter was in her 50s too. And they got it so bad. And then they're just she's like, please come. Nobody else showed up. So I had to go. I was working through the pandemic with COVID. Sick. Caring for other people. It's not like we could transfer it to each other because we already had it. So then, and then the thing is the lady was expecting me to be able to haul her daughter around. Her daughter was 170 pounds. I mean, I'm not a weakling, but I can't do that. I cannot do that. So it was hard. It was really hard. Had to go through COVID, homeless, living in a camper, in my brother's backyard with little to no electricity. The toilet wouldn't work. The shower didn't work. The brakes had gone out on it. The batteries kept draining. There was a short somewhere. I mean, boom. And then the transmission was getting ready to go. Even though the guy said, oh yeah, I put a new transmission. You liar, you didn't put a new transmission in there. So I got lied to and betrayed again. when I desperately needed that camper to work. But it didn't happen. And there we were in the middle of a pandemic. Anyway, I love you. Love, peace, and joy to you. And I will see you in the next video. Okay? Have hope. Believe in yourself. And remember, there's always tomorrow. Okay? I'll see you then.